The IDF has killed a Hamas military commander who allegedly took part in the October 7th attack on Israel and was involved in holding Israeli hostages in Gaza. The IDF identified the operative as Sabahi Sami Mahmoud Shahata, describing him as a platoon commander in Hamas military wing. His reported killing comes as violence continues inside Gaza despite a ceasefire that has significantly reduced the intensity of the war. The Israeli military says another Hamas commander linked to the October 7, 2023 attack has been eliminated. According to the IDF, Sabahi Sami Mahmoud Shahata was a platoon commander in Hamas military wing. The IDF alleges that Shahata infiltrated Israeli territory during the October 7 assault and participated in the attack that killed around 1,200 people and resulted in 251 people being taken hostage, according to Israeli figures. The IDF further alleges that Shahata was involved in holding multiple hostages captive inside Gaza. Israeli authorities say he also continued efforts to plan and advance attacks against Israeli soldiers and civilians after the October 7 assault. Shahata's reported death comes at a particularly sensitive moment in Gaza. A ceasefire has been in place since October 2025, but the situation on the ground remains volatile. Israel continues to carry out strikes and military operations in parts of the Gaza Strip, while Hamas remains under pressure to disarm. In the latest escalation, mediators Turkey, Egypt, and Qatar have warned that recent Israeli strikes are undermining efforts to end the conflict. The mediators said recent Israeli strikes had killed at least 16 Palestinians and called on Israel to respect the ceasefire. The United States has also been pushing for a political breakthrough. Israel is intensifying its crackdown on Hamas' vast underground tunnel network in Gaza. The IDF says its forces are continuing operations to locate, expose, and destroy tunnels allegedly used by Hamas to move fighters, store weapons, and plan attacks. On August 19, IDF said 2 tunnels belonging to Hamas were sealed in the Gaza Strip. IDF's Gaza Division combat engineers were deployed to seal the tunnels, which had a combined length of more than 2 kilometers. Drone footage released by the IDF shows the tunnels running underground at length, packed with sandbags. For years, Hamas has built an extensive network of underground passages beneath Gaza, a system the Israeli military has described as a key part of the group's military infrastructure. According to the Israeli military, some of these tunnels are believed to run beneath densely populated areas and civilian infrastructure. The army says destroying the network is a key objective of its operations in Gaza, arguing that leaving the tunnels intact could allow Hamas fighters to regroup and launch future attacks. But the underground battlefield presents a major challenge. Tunnels can stretch for long distances, branch into multiple routes, and contain booby traps, making operations inside them particularly dangerous for troops. This week, the IDF carried out a strike on a cafe near Gaza City's northern port, saying several Hamas commanders were meeting there to plan imminent attacks against Israeli forces operating in the Strip. According to reports, 6 people were killed in the strike, while at least 10 others were wounded. The IDF says the commanders were targeted as they allegedly gathered to plan attacks against Israeli troops. And this was not the only such operation. Last week, the Israeli Air Force also struck what the military described as a Gazan terror cell in Khan Yunis. According to the IDF, the cell was also planning and preparing an operation against Israeli forces. These strikes come as the IDF has been ordered to halt its broader attacks across the Gaza Strip. However, an exception remains for individuals identified as planning imminent attacks against Israeli forces. The Israeli military says it will continue to act against what it considers immediate threats, even as broader military operations in Gaza remain on hold. Donald Trump's envoy Jared Kushner met Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, as Washington steps up efforts to revive a Gaza peace plan that Israel has so far rejected. The meeting came after Kushner reportedly held talks with Hamas leaders. 2 weeks earlier, Hamas had endorsed the latest stage of Trump's Gaza plan. But Netanyahu has refused to back it, insisting that any settlement must ensure Hamas is genuinely disarmed. Kushner, who is also Trump's son-in-law, reportedly met Hamas's new leader, Khalil al-Hayya, in the Egyptian Mediterranean city of El Alamein. According to reports, Kushner demanded that Hamas verify that it is giving up its weapons, one of Netanyahu's key conditions. A Hamas official, meanwhile, said the group told Kushner that it remained committed to the Gaza plan and wanted the United States to put pressure on Netanyahu. The Trump administration has become increasingly willing to engage directly with Hamas in the hope of ending the devastating conflict. The administration also negotiated the October ceasefire agreement that led to the release of the remaining Israeli hostages. But Netanyahu has increasingly found himself at odds with Trump. The Israeli Prime Minister, who faces elections in October that polls suggest could be closely contested, has become more willing to defy the U.S. president. Netanyahu has also expressed dissatisfaction with Trump's decision to halt the U.S.-Israeli war on Iran, which began in late February, and instead pursue a settlement with Tehran's clerical leadership. And after initially offering only muted criticism of the Gaza peace plan, Netanyahu last week made his position clear. He told his cabinet that he rejected the plan and vowed not to withdraw Israeli troops from the Palestinian territory. Meanwhile, Israel has resumed airstrikes in Gaza after a lull that followed Trump's push for the peace plan. The October ceasefire, however, never completely stopped the violence. According to Gaza's Hamas-run health ministry, at least 1,265 Palestinians have been killed in Israeli operations since the ceasefire came into effect on October 10. The United Nations has previously regarded the ministry's overall casualty figures as generally reliable. The Israeli military, meanwhile, has reported 5 deaths among its forces during Gaza operations over the same period. For Israel, the reported death of Shahata is being presented as another strike against the Hamas military structure. For Hamas and its supporters, however, continued Israeli military action remains a major obstacle to a lasting ceasefire. The war that began with the October 7 Hamas attack has moved into a different phase, but it has not fully ended. The hostage issue, Hamas weapons, Israeli withdrawal, Gaza's future governance and reconstruction all remain deeply contested.